Evening and welcome to our council meeting of Glenorchy City Council for Monday the 26th of October 2020. I'd like to begin today's council meeting by acknowledging the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the original, traditional and continuing custodians of the land that we're gathering on tonight, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Tonight's council meeting will be conducted via Zoom. In the council chambers we have myself, Meg Christie-Johnson, General Manager and our Executive Officer, but our aldermen are joining us via Zoom on virtual meeting tonight. And I'll just go through in attendance to make sure that they're all here. If you can indicate that you are here, that would be appreciated. We'll go around what the normal seating arrangement is in the council. So Alderman Bull.
I'm here.
Welcome. Alderman Ryan.
Here.
Welcome. Alderman Dunsby.
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. Alderman King.
Yeah.
Welcome. Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Hello.
Alderman Fraser.
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. Alderman Carlton. Yes, you're there, Alderman Carlton. We couldn't hear you then, sorry. We might just double check you've got your sound. I still can't hear you, sorry, Alderman Carlton. We'll just give you a moment to adjust the sound because we haven't got you there. I can see that you're unmuted, but we haven't heard you yet. I'll come back to you. Excellent. And Alderman Sims.
Here.
Welcome. We have an apology tonight from Alderman Gay Richardson. She's unable to attend. So we'll move then on to the item number 2, which is confirmation of the open council meetings for the 28th of September 2020. Could I ask for a mover, please?
Deputy Mayor. Dunsby.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And Alderman Dunsby, I take that as a second there. Deputy Mayor, anything further discussion on the item?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion of the item? No, I shall put the motion there. If you can indicate for or against as I go around the table again. Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnson is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
Lovely. Alderman Sims.
For.
That's carried unanimously. Item 3 is announcements by the Chair. I have none today. Item 4, pecuniary interest notification. Do any aldermen have any pecuniary interest they wish to notify on Council's agenda tonight? I'll take silence as no. We move on then to item 5, response to previous public questions taken on notice. You will notice that in the council agenda that is available online for members of the public watching at home. We did receive some questions from Mrs. Janice Bride from Montrose, and the questions and answers are provided in the council agenda. So we move on then to item 6, public question time. Now, normally when we're not even in this COVID-19 environment, we would have members of the public in the council chambers with us, and we would allow open question time. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 restrictions, we can't have members of the public joining us in the council chambers at the moment. So people have been invited to make questions and submit them in writing prior to tonight's council meeting. And we do have some submitted from Mr. Eddie Steenbergen. They are in the council agenda, again with the answers as well provided. And we haven't received any, I believe, since then. So we will move on from that item there. Move on then to item 7, petitions and deputations. Now we have received a petition last week from the Hobart Wheelers Dirt Devils Incorporated in regards to a letter of support for the Glenorchy Mountain Bike Master Plan. Their petition is the Hobart Wheelers Dirt Devils Incorporated and its members strongly supports that the draft Glenorchy Mountain Bike Master Plan be adopted by Council as a formal plan. There are 120 signatures to the petition and it has been submitted to us by Mr. Adam Christopher of Thornbull Crescent, Claremont. General Manager, that's the only one that we have received. Correct. So can I just have a motion that we table the petition? There is an item to be dealt with later in our council agenda relating to the draft mountain bike master plan, but I do need a motion at this particular point in time that we table this petition. Can I have someone to move that, please?
Don't move me.
Thank you, Alderman King. Someone to second?
Second, Alderman Ryan.
Alderman Ryan, I think that was?
Yep.
Thank you. Alderman King, did you wish to speak to the motion?
No, I think it's self-explanatory, Mayor. We need to include it, so that's fine.
Thank you. Because it's more of a procedural motion, I'll just ask a general question if anyone would like to speak to the motion. If not, I'll put the motion then, if you can indicate for or against. Alderman Ball,
For.
Alderman Ryan,
For.
Alderman Dunsby,
For.
Alderman King,
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas,
For.
Mayor Johnston is for, Alderman Fraser,
4.
Alderman Carlton,
For.
and Alderman Sims.
For.
Carried unanimously. The General Manager. Item 8 is announcements by the Mayor. Do I have someone to move this item, please?
Moved Alderman Fraser.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Someone to second?
Alderman King.
Thank you, Alderman King. Alderman Fraser, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, nothing further for me. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll go around the table and ask if anyone has any questions or wishes to speak to the motion. Alderman Ball.
No, thank you.
Alderman Ryan.
No, nothing from me.
Alderman Dunsby.
No, nothing, thank you.
Alderman King.
No, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Carlton.
Nothing from me, thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Sims.
No queries, thanks.
Lovely. Just have a moment there. A bit of noise in the background. So I go back to the mover, Alderman Fraser.
Yeah, no, nothing further from me. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll put the motion then. You can indicate for or against. Alderman Ball.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser.
4.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
Alderman Sims.
For.
Carried unanimously. Move on then to item 9, the draft Greater Glenorchy plan. Do I have someone to move the recommendation, please?
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor, someone to second, please.
Alderman Sims.
Thank you, Alderman Sims. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just briefly say that I think this is, excuse me, this is an exciting item for us to receive, and I note the comprehensive work that has gone into this item, and this has been a long time coming for our community, the precinct planning, Greater Glenorchy planning, and it really sets us up for to show what our vision is for development across our 3 CBD areas in Glenorchy, Claremont and Moona. What we are endorsing, what the recommendation we are considering is that we endorse the release of the draft Greater Glenorchy plan for community feedback for public exhibition, which will start in early November and be available for 4 weeks. And I'm more than happy to put it out there to our community, and really keen to hear their thoughts on what they have to say about what is outlined in the Greater Glenorchy plans, and look forward to receiving it and receiving the feedback and the final plans for consideration at a later meeting. Happy to open it up for to the table.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, I'm in support. I thought it's a very well prepared plan, so thank you. Nothing else from me.
Thank you, Alderman Bull. Alderman Ryan?
No, nothing from me.
Alderman Dunsby?
Yes, I certainly endorse the comments made by the Deputy Mayor, and I look forward to the input from our community and for it to come back for us for endorsement and seeing it being progressed.
Thank you. Alderman King?
No, there's a lot of work gone into this, and I appreciate the work that's been done. And again, like Alderman Downs, we look forward to the community's feedback.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser.
I'm happy to vote in favour of the recommendations.
Alderman Carlton?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few quick questions from me, if that's okay. Very happy to support the recommendations tonight. So my questions are really just a quick little clarification questions. It was really pleasing to see that in the strategic priorities that the access policy is identified as one of the key strategic priorities. And I note from an earlier conversation today that our access policy is due for review at the end of this year. So look forward to that coming back to the table and the Alderman having a look at that access policy again. My questions, though, were really around the community engagement template, and I just wanted to get a bit of clarification from the mayor, the GM, or the director around the particular stage that we're going to in terms of the engagement. But firstly, really appreciate that as part of the papers tonight, we've been given the engagement plan. So my question was around the difference between the level of engagement. So the plan is around informing rather than consulting the community around the particular plan. I just wanted to see what the difference was in terms of informing and consulting, and whether in actual fact we are consulting the community in terms of this next stage.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. General Manager?
I'll defer to the director.
The Director, so Director Sam Fox, Director of Development and Strategy.
Oh, hi. Thank you for the question, Mayor, and Alderman Carlton as well. The template that we use is using the International Public Participation Guidelines, and it's got some definitions around inform and consult that we've used for this. I do agree, though, that in the pure sense, this is consultation because we are seeking feedback. It's not just information provision. We are looking for input and advice from our community. I guess the difference there is where we'd lean towards informing is that we don't want to create expectations that we're starting from a blank sheet of paper. We are discussing what's on the page. We're discussing how our vision will be articulated. So look, I'm a bit here and there about whether it's informing or consulting. I'm happy to change it to consulting. I do want to make it clear, though, that we are looking for input from our community. We've got a survey going out with these plans where we're asking for people to prioritise initiatives. We're looking for feedback whether they support or don't support different parts that have been proposed. So certainly want to gain that input, and happy to amend the engagement plan if that makes it clearer that we are actually seeking input.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I think it's really important that the community sees that we are informing, but we're also really encouraging their input. And there's been a lot of work that's gone into it, but there's still a lot of involvement from the community as well. And then just in the second part of the plan there, in terms of the special committees, we've actually, I believe, spoken to, or we will be speaking to most of the committees. I see that the Glenorchy Task Force is actually not going to be included, or isn't included. I just wonder how we're capturing the voices of our younger members of the community. I know we're going out in a sort of broad sense. The plan really spells out how we're going to go, but I'm just wondering how we're going to ensure that we are getting that feedback from our younger community.
Look, I'm more than happy to add the task force in as well, Alderman Carlton. We certainly saw the need to consult with committees, and we did a bit of a broad review of which committees would be most interested, and we put those down for special attention, but more than happy to include the task force as well.
Great, thank you. And I think that was pretty much all of my questions, but once again, appreciate the opportunity to have a look at that engagement plan. And it's been an impressive amount of work, and it's something that has been able to be done quite quickly. We've only been talking about this for a few months now, and to get to this stage is quite impressive.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Alderman Sims.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to this. I think it's something that's been in the works for a long time. I know it's something that a lot of aldermen raised when we got voted in at the very start around planning to succeed, taking that bit of extra effort to actually step back and formulate a bit of guidance on where we're going in the city and how it's going to look in the future. It's also, I think, really important to echo what Alderman Carlton's raised here today around community consultation and how we view that as a council. I think just hearing the conversation tonight, it's important we step back and reflect on that, because it's really the community is the drivers for their own city, and we're supposed to facilitate it. So kind of talking about whether we're informing them, whether we're consulting with them, getting feedback. I personally understand the need to have relevant guidance in getting that feedback, making sure we're not going out there with an open slate. So when the feedback comes back, we can't actually do any of it because it's not relevant. It's important that we actually go out with a bit of guidance, but still not go out with, you know, a closed mind, leave it quite open as far as we can to garner that feedback, and ensure the community are driving it, not just giving a little bit of feedback on certain aspects here and there. And the youth is an important one to capture. We do have a youth group. I'm surprised that wasn't included. They are the next generation. They're the ones that are going to have to live in this city. And also our youth group are one demographic. There's a lot of different demographic of youth, and some are succeeding quite well in their own paths, and they're paths that don't cross our council paths. So I think it's really important that we get out there and have a chat with what's actually happening on our street and how those streets can be better built and utilised for the future. But I'll be endorsing this plan. I think it's a great start to have a coordinated view on how we move forward as a council and as a city. And I'd love to see our community have a lot more of a robust input into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Sims. I'll go back to the mover, Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to my fellow aldermen for your contributions in support of the Greater Glenorchy plan. As I sort of said, I look forward to the community's feedback. I think it's also important to note that you know, these plans align with all 5 goals or relate to all 5 goals in our Glenorchy community plan. And also importantly, this project is a key action out of the Hobart City deal. So it's important that we are contributing to that and showing that we mean business when it comes to contributing to the greater city deal. So in saying that, I'm happy to support the recommendations.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. I'll ask you to indicate for or against. Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
And Alderman Sims.
For.
That's carried unanimously. Item 10, draft Berriedale Peninsula Master Plan. Do I have someone to move this item, please?
Moved, Alderman Fraser.
Alderman Fraser. Someone to second, please.
Alderman Sims.
Alderman Sims. Alderman Fraser, would you like to speak to the motion?
Look, only to say that I endorse the recommendations and the plan. Similar to the last motion, this is endorsing the release of the master plan for public comment. So it will be interesting to see this come back in late 2020 to see what the Glenorchy public think about it.
Thank you very much, Alderman Fraser. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, as Alderman Fraser said, I as well am interested to see what the public feedback is, but I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Bull. Alderman Ryan, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, nothing from me, thanks.
Alderman Dunsby.
Thank you. Yes, I'd just like the community to be aware of these plans coming out, and I encourage them to step forward and to make their feelings known and to provide us with their commentary. I don't want them to feel overwhelmed with it, but it's most important that our community do engage on this and the other items put up tonight. Apart from that, I'm very happy with this particular master plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby. Alderman King.
No, it's been covered by the previous speakers. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. The Berriedale Peninsula is a beautiful part of our city and has lots of potential for activation and development to make it user-friendly for everyone in our community. And I'm really pleased to see the draft master plan being released for public comment, and I look forward to hearing the feedback.
Thank you. Alderman Carlton.
Thank you, Mayor. Like my fellow aldermen, I'm very happy with the process to date. We've had some challenges in terms of COVID, in terms of getting perhaps some of the responses that we would have liked due to some of the challenges that we faced. So this next part is quite important in terms of the community providing us the feedback on what we're endorsing tonight, which is the draft master plan. But I did have a question around, again, we've been given the engagement plan for this project as a whole. I just wanted to get some clarity around. We've obviously done some pre-engagement and some work leading up to this point. Now we've got the draft master plan. What exactly are we going to be doing between now and when it comes back to council, given we already have engagement going out about the precincts and we're coming into Christmas? And I guess in the back of my mind, I'm wondering whether we've got a lot of consultation coming up before Christmas. So firstly, what is the plan to ensure we get as much engagement as possible with this particular plan? I note that we got 40 responses from the residents, and we also had some workshops. So, we are keen to get some broader local feedback into that. And then secondly, are we perhaps, our officers confident between now and Christmas with the consultation that we've got planned?
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. I might throw to the Director of Development Strategy, Sam Fox, for that one.
Oh, sure. And I'll throw to the Manager of City Strategy and Economic Development, Erin McGoldrick.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Great question. We do have a lot of engagement in both our master plans leading up to the Christmas time, and it is a very busy time. In saying that, we are mindful of that. So our intention is also to circulate the master plan document, which is not quite as long as the Greater Glenorchy plan, because we're only dealing with one precinct, and to offer a short survey. So essentially a very similar approach to Greater Glenorchy plan, where we look at some of the overarching principles for the master plan, ask for prioritisation of proposed projects, and then have it open for further comment if people wish to add more of their own thoughts.
Thank you. And so what does success look like in terms of response from the community? So in earlier workshops, we talked about how we would ensure that this message gets out to the community around their opportunity to have a say, particularly, say, schools in that area that might not have been picked up in the initial workshops. So what would you be hoping to see, coming back in terms of responses from the community?
That's a great question. It would be really good to see. We did have the Montrose Bay School involved in the workshop, but it would be good to see again responses coming through from groups or representatives of groups. But also, this is the opportunity for people more broadly in the LGA. So the previous engagement that we've undertaken has been targeted and has been very specific to the residents of Berrydale and Chigwell. So we would like to see responses broadly from anyone who uses the area. So that might be Greater Hobart, Southern Tasmania, or even further still. We don't have specific targets in terms of number of responses. Yeah, we're sort of playing it by ear, so to speak.
Thank you. And I appreciate the extra info, because the engagement plan was a little bit light on in terms of the strategies for this particular part of the project. So I appreciate that extra info.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Alderman Sims.
No, I think everything's been covered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go back to the mover then, Alderman Fraser.
No, nothing really further, Mayor. Just also to acknowledge that this is the end point of a significant amount of work for council employees. So I think it's important to recognise that. But as I said, looking forward to seeing the results of the community comments later in the year.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. I'll put the motion then. Indicate for or against. Alderman Bull.
For.
Thank you. Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
And Alderman Sims.
For.
Motion is carried unanimously. Move on then to item 11, Glenorchy Mountain Bike Master Plan. Do I have someone to move this item, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move this item. I do have a different set of recommendations, which I emailed through to you earlier.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Alderman Carlton. I shall just get those up on my screen as we are talking. So Alderman Carlton has circulated an alternative motion there. Essentially, the recommendation remains as is for 1 and 2. 3, though, becomes resolved to develop a prospectus to seek investment in the project, which will detail the likely economic and social benefits, as well as identify potential ongoing funding opportunities to offset increases in costs. Is that correct, Alderman Carlton?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Lovely. Do I have someone to second this motion, please?
Alderman Sims.
Thank you, Alderman Sims. Alderman Carlton, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Like some of the reports that we've seen already tonight, this is the end of quite a long process and a lot of work that's gone in by council officers, and really pleasingly has involved a lot of community members in providing feedback and input at various stages. And we have seen this come to us quite a few times already. So the recommendations are around, as been listed, but I have got a different one for item 3, which is around ensuring that the prospectus does detail what are the benefits for our community, but also how it is that we're going to afford the additional costs that will naturally come with any sort of upgrade of public infrastructure.
Thank you very much, Alderman Carlton. I'll ask Alderman Ball, do you have anything you wish to say in relation to the item?
No, nothing, thank you.
Alderman Ryan?
No, not from me.
Alderman Dunn?
No, I'm very happy with the plan as presented. Thank you.
Alderman King?
No, I'm happy, thanks, Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Thomas?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I'm very pleased to support the recommendation to adopt the Glenorchy Mountain Bike Master Plan, and I'm supportive of the alternative recommendation as proposed by Alderman Carlton in relation to ensuring that we have some consideration made into the funding and how we will maintain and make sure any development we do in implementing the master plan is sustainable going forward. I did have a conversation with council officers today in relation to potential impacts on a couple of existing users of the space, being the Sporting Shooters and the Life Without Barriers nursery. So I appreciate the information provided by council officers in relation to the ongoing negotiations and discussions that are occurring with those groups who will be potentially affected by the implementation of the master plan. And I understand from those conversations that those discussions are still ongoing and there is still work to be done, but effectively by adopting the master plan, we are giving rise to having some more specific conversations about how things will be, how we can work with groups to assist them to get the best outcome for everyone in our community in implementing the master plan. So I'm quite satisfied with that and happy to support the recommendations.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Alderman Fraser?
I'm happy to support the recommendations.
Thank you. Alderman Sims?
Yes, I'm too in support of it, and Alderman Carlton, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I think it's a responsible move to make sure it's in a measured and balanced way, and it's approached in this way as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Sims. And just quickly for myself to note, as we did earlier in the meeting, that we did receive a letter of support and a petition supporting the draft mountain bike master plan from the Hobart Wheelers and Hobart Dirt Devils as well. So I just want to acknowledge that they have been thrilled with the master plan in its draft format and certainly are seeking our endorsement tonight. So I'm sure that they will be pleased with the outcome. If nothing further, I'll go back to the mover then, Alderman Carlton.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to my fellow aldermen for their comments, and particularly I would like to echo Deputy Mayor's comments around this now provides the platform for our council officers to go and have those more meaningful conversations with the groups to be able to really try to find a good result for that community. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. I'll put the motion there to indicate for or against. Alderman Ball?
For.
Alderman Ryan?
For.
Alderman Dunsby?
For.
Alderman King?
4.
Deputy Mayor Thomas?
4.
Mayor Johnston is 4. Alderman Fraser?
4.
Alderman Carlton?
4.
And Alderman Sims?
4.
That's carried unanimously. Item 12 is disposal of council land at 671 Main Road, Berrydale, an extension of exclusive dealing period. Do I have someone to move this item, please?
Alderman Dunsby.
Alderman Dunsby, someone to second?
Alderman Bull.
Thank you, Alderman Bull. Alderman Dunsby, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you. I believe the report that we have before us is fairly comprehensive, and it's outlined the very difficult situations that have been faced at multiple levels in this particular consultation on the land at 671 Main Road, Berrydale. I believe the recommendation that's been put before us is appropriate, and that any proposed agreement or sale of lease of the land will come back for final approval. So I open up the discussion to my fellow aldermen.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, I'm in support of the recommendation and appreciate the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Ryan.
No, I'm happy to support the motion.
Thank you, Alderman King.
I happy to support the motion, Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor. I think Alderman Dunsby summed it up pretty well. I'm happy to support the motion.
Alderman Fraser?
Very happy to support it. Thank you.
Alderman Carlton?
Thank you, Mayor. Happy to support. Think it's very reasonable and in line with other decisions we've made.
And Alderman Sims?
Yes, I'll be supporting the recommendation today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go back to the mover then, Alderman Dunsby.
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put the motion indicate for or against. Alderman Bull.
Or
Alderman Ryan?
4.
Alderman Dunsby?
4.
Thank you. You there, Alderman King?
Yes, 4. Sorry.
Sorry, that's right. Deputy Mayor Thomas?
4.
Mayor Johnston is 4. Alderman Fraser?
4.
Alderman Carlton?
4.
Alderman Sims?
4.
Carried unanimously. Item 13 is annual review of council's risk appetite. Do I have someone to move the recommendation, please?
Alderman Dunsby.
Alderman Dunsby, someone to second?
Alderman King.
Thank you, Alderman King. Alderman Dunsby, speak to the motion.
Thank you. I'm happy to see our review of the risk appetite sort of was mirrored again, and there weren't really any changes there. It's professionally and independently prepared document that we've had worked through, and I'm happy to see it in the public agenda for them to see what we've developed, what we think is our risk appetite. And again, I throw it open to my fellow aldermen for discussion.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
no, nothing further. Thank you.
Alderman Ryan?
No, I think it's self-explanatory. Thank you.
Alderman King?
Saying Mayor, it's self-explanatory. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the work that's gone into this and the workshop that we had to review our risk appetite statement. It is a really important part of what we do and a really important responsibility for us as aldermen. It's never something that I think many of us find really fun to do, and considering, you know, all the things that could go wrong, can be somewhat challenging, but yeah, I'm happy to support the risk appetite statement and note that you know, the comments made by people who are professionals in the risk sort of space, suggesting that we have a really mature you know, response and approach to how we manage risk as a council is really refreshing as well. So that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Alderman Fraser?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I mean, I agree. It's not very sexy stuff, that's for sure, but it is important. And when I did the company directors course a year or so ago, this is one of the first responsibilities of a governing body, which we are, as is the case with the board of directors, is to set a risk appetite for an organisation. So I'm very pleased that it's been done, and I'm happy to support the recommendations.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Alderman Carlton?
Thank you, Mayor. This has been extensively workshopped, and we appreciate all of the support and work from council officers and external. So I'm happy to support this. I am keen to see over time how this becomes embedded in our decision making and our reports, and how we work with our strategy and policies and procedures. And I think, as Alderman Thomas said, we have been recognised as being quite mature in this space, which is very pleasing to note.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Alderman Sims.
No, I think everything has been covered. I'll be endorsing this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go back to the mover then, Alderman Dunsby.
Nothing further, Mayor.
I'll put the motion if you can indicate for or against. Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
And Alderman Sims.
For.
Motion is carried unanimously. So we move on to item 14, which is ICT security policy. Do I have someone to move this item, please?
Alderman Ryan.
Thank you, Alderman Ryan. Someone to second?
Alderman Bull.
Thank you, Alderman Bull. Alderman Ryan, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, just to say that attention to IT and cybersecurity is an imperative in this era. We all know this now. Council has recently created a dedicated position for oversight of our information, communications and technology. This appointment has coincided with the scheduled review of our ICT security policy. Under Tasmanian legislation, the Personal Information Protection Act, Glenorchy Council, as a public authority, is a personal information custodian. As such, we are obliged to take reasonable steps to protect personal information from unauthorised access. I'm satisfied that the policy complies with Council's legal obligations, and I'm happy to support the motion recommending the adoption of this policy.
Thank you, Alderman Ryan. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, happy and well said by Alderman Ryan. Thank you.
Alderman Dunsby.
Nothing to add, thank you, Mayor.
Alderman King.
I think Alderman Ryan pretty much hit it on the head. Well done.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy to support the recommendation.
Alderman Fraser.
Happy to support the recommendation.
And Alderman Carlton.
Happy to support.
And Alderman Sims.
Yeah, all straightforward. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go back to the mover, Alderman Ryan. Anything further to add?
No, nothing further to add. Thank you.
The motion. Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
And Alderman Sims.
For.
Motion is carried unanimously. Item 7 is a quarterly report for quarter 1, 2020-21. There was an amended report circulated this afternoon with some corrections to the financials and some information inserted as well. Alderman have that. So I seek a motion to receive and note the amended quarterly report, if I can.
Mayor, I'm just looking through my agenda.
So I have skipped one.
Okay.
I have a cheat sheet that I have copied from previous one. Thank you very much, Alderman Fraser. I have missed it. So we'll go back to item 15. It should be procurement and contracts monthly report. And apologies for that. Do I have someone to move that one, please?
Alderman Fraser.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser.
Alderman Dunsby.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby. I turned the page too quickly. That's what I've done here. Alderman Fraser, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, I'm just happy to receive and note the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Bull.
No, I'm happy. Thank you.
Alderman Ryan.
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
Alderman Dunsby.
A very straightforward report this month. Thank you.
Alderman King.
All good, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Alderman Carlton.
Happy to receive and note.
Alderman Sims.
Yeah, happy to note. Thanks.
Go back to the mover then, Alderman Fraser.
No, nothing further. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
Alderman Sims.
For.
Motion is carried unanimously. Now we have item 16, updated council policies. Do I have someone to move this item, please?
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Someone to second?
Alderman Colton.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a pretty simple one. Happy to adopt the updated and renamed charges for agendas, minutes and bylaws policy, and the updated and renamed Alderman expenses policy, and to rescind the Alderman employee relations policy for the reasons quite clearly outlined in the report. I'm particularly happy to note that the policy in relation to charges for agendas, minutes and bylaws will be amended, that we do not charge for printing copies of minutes and other associated documents to the public within reason. So I think that makes sense, and I'm happy with the other policies.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Alderman Ryan?
No, I'm good.
Alderman Dunsby?
Thank you. Just as stated by the Deputy Mayor, it is fairly straightforward. I'm happy to support.
Alderman King?
No, same. We've gone through it, so it's fine.
Alderman Fraser?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Alderman Carlton?
Nothing further. Thank you.
And Alderman Sims?
No, nothing from me. Thanks.
I'll go back to the mover, Deputy Mayor.
Happy to go to the vote.
Thank you. Alderman Bull, I'll put the motion.
For.
Thank you. Alderman Ryan?
For.
Alderman Dunsby?
For.
Alderman King?
For.
Deputy Mayor?
For.
Mayor Johnston is for. Alderman Fraser?
For.
Alderman Carlton?
For.
And Alderman Sims?
For.
Motion's carried unanimously. Now we're up to item 7, which is a quarterly report of quarter 1, 2020-21. And as I said beforehand, there's been some corrections and amendments made to the quarterly report, which has been circulated to Alderman. So I would speak that the recommendation to be moved tonight is receive and note the amended council's quarterly report and quarterly annual plan progress report for the quarter ending 30 September 2020. Do I have someone to move that?
Alderman Fraser.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Someone for second, please.
Alderman Ryan.
Thank you, Alderman Ryan. Alderman Fraser, would you like to speak to the motion?
Look, I'm happy to receive and note the report. There was nothing too eye-catching in the report that I could see. At this point, it seems like we are tracking on budgets as far as expenditure and revenue, etc. So, no, nothing further from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Alderman Bull, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, I think it's all self-explanatory and straightforward. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Ryan.
No, thank you.
Alderman Dunsby.
A question, if I may, Mayor. On pages 18, 19 and 20, I think, and over to 21 of the report, the heading on each of those where it says variance, it includes thousands at the top. I just think that that's potentially an error. If we've got variances of that level, they seem fairly high, just so the report will need amending to take that out, if that's my correct understanding.
Just check with the General Manager.
Yes, it does appear to be a high number there, so it appears mislabeled.
That will be updated then.
Yes.
I think the variance of the actual dollars shown, not adding another 3 zeros on the end of each of them.
I agree, Alderman Dunsby.
Thank you. So whether we need to note that to adopt again a variation to the report, it doesn't change anything. It's literally a typo.
I think we leave it with the amended report. If we'll get the Executive Office to circulate the amended report with that correction made as well, Alderman Dunsby.
Thank you. Other than that, I have nothing else to add.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby. Alderman King.
No, nothing further, Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to receive and note the quarterly report for our first quarter of our 2021 financial year. And I think it's really important that we reflect and take stock on what we have achieved and what's been a very tough start to the financial year for everybody, including our council, economically and socially, given the COVID-19 pandemic we are faced with. We have still been kicking goals in all areas under each of our community goal plans, and just, you know, running through the report, we've progressed our economic recovery program, the Berriedale Peninsula Master Plan that we have endorsed the draft of tonight, our Greater Glenorchy plans that we have as well endorsed the draft of for community consultation tonight. Some really significant projects that we have been working on and finalising in this first quarter, which will have significant impacts for our community positively into the future for the development of our wonderful city. We have also progressed the development of our Glenorchy Arts and Culture strategy. We've finalised the designs for our play spaces at Montrose Bay and Giblin Reserve. We have introduced the no spray register, a motion brought by Alderman Dunsby. We have passed our footpaths policy, setting out a hierarchy for how we will manage the ongoing renewal and regeneration of our footpaths to make better access for our community. We have endorsed a statement of commitment on housing and a statement of commitment on gambling. So we have been busy this quarter, our council, and I think it's really important to reflect on what we have achieved for our community and all the hard work of council officers during what, as I say, has been quite a tough time, different time. So I just thought it was important to note that, and I really encourage our community to have a look at just that, you know, even just the first few pages of the annual quarterly report snapshot that will be published on our website, to have an understanding of what we are achieving. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Alderman Carlton.
Thank you, Mayor. It was just great listening to Alderman Thomas's comments there around all of the things that we've really managed to tick off in what's been quite an incredible year. And I really commend the effort and work that's gone in across our council and our community. I did have a question around, you know, there are some things that have had to be reprioritised as our council's shifted its focus to assist the community. And I see in the annual plan progress report, one of the things that's had to be put aside is the community development strategy. And I note the coordinator's update in there that it has been unfortunately delayed due to COVID-19, and there is quite a comprehensive update there, but I just wondered if there was a bit more information around whether this is likely to be delivered this year, or whether that is just not really going to be feasible. And in particular, because there are some strategies in there that are quite important to our community recovery, and just keen to get a bit of an update on where we might be, particularly around our youth strategy.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. I'll throw to the Director of Community Development, David, Customer Service.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Through you, Mayor, thank you for the question. Obviously, COVID's impacted on this project because the officers involved in the project have obviously been responding to our community through the COVID period. However, we would be very keen to say we'll still get this project done as forecast within this financial year.
Thank you, and really appreciate how much work, you know, across council and in particular in this area has been happening the last couple of months.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Alderman Sims.
No, nothing left to say now. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Sims. I'd just like to also, as many of the aldermen have done, acknowledge the amount of work that we have achieved already in the first quarter of this financial year, and thank the staff for their time and dedication. It has been a very difficult year for our community and for council. It's been tough on everyone financially, but particularly tough in terms of doing the things that we would normally want to do, but our council is kicking some massive goals and continue to deliver. We very much are a can-do council, where we are progressing some major projects, and that will benefit us and make us stronger and more resilient in this COVID-19 experience that we're facing at the moment. I know that there are many who are nervous about borders opening up today and what that might mean for our community moving forward should there be a second wave. But the work that council is doing now on behalf of our community is really making sure that we have a resilient and strong community, a strong economic basis, but also strong community ties as well. So congratulations to the staff in particular who have been working extraordinarily hard in very difficult circumstances to make sure that we are not just surviving, but we're thriving as a community. So thank you very much to them, and thank you to the Alderman too for the support of the staff during this time as well. I'll go back to them to move Alderman Fraser.
No, nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion then. If you indicate for or against, Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnson is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
And Alderman Sims.
For.
That's carried unanimously. So move on then to item 18, notice of motion questions on notice without notice for open council. Do any aldermen have any? I will note that in the council agenda that we do have a question on notice from Alderman Dunsby in relation to electric vehicle use and charging station provisions. The question is in the agenda as well as the answer, but are there any without notice tonight?
Question without notice, Mayor.
Alderman Fraser.
In relation to recycling, I'm curious about what reassurance we are given from our recycling contractors about the provenance of the recyclable material that is collected from our city and where it ends up. What reassurances do we have from the companies involved that this material is in fact being recycled and is not being stockpiled, or even in some cases being put into landfill on the mainland?
Thank you very much, Alderman Fraser. I'll ask either the Director of Infrastructure and Works or the Director of Property, Environment and Waste to answer that one. So the Manager, just provided you there, Alex. Or perhaps Ted in the first instance.
Yeah, thank you. And through you, Mayor, and thanks for the question, Alderman Fraser. What I can communicate is that with the transition from SKM to Cleanaway, we've seen a dramatic improvement in separation of our waste and more confidence in that provenance. I guess if you go back probably a couple of years, a lot of councils' recycled waste was bundled and sent to China, along with a lot of the recycled waste from a lot of areas in Australia. And there was concern over where it would then go. Now we're seeing recycled materials, especially coming from the southern plant, we're starting to see more separation. So instead of commingled plastics and aluminium, we're seeing from the plant in southern Tasmania, the plastics are being separated into the different types of plastics, and the aluminium is being separated from the plastics. So we're starting to bundle recycled materials into their specific material, single source type material. And then I only just received an email the other day explaining where some of that material is then processed and sent on to other areas. And I think we'd be more than happy to provide some of that information on our website so that our community can have more confidence in where the material's ending up.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I think that'd be a great idea.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Any further questions without notice tonight? And most of the motions without notice. If there are none, we might move on to close council. So I will ask someone that move to close council, if I may.
So move, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman King. Someone to second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Alderman Carlton. I'll put the motion to indicate for or against. Alderman Bull.
For.
Alderman Ryan.
For.
Alderman Dunsby.
For.
Alderman King.
For.
Deputy Mayor Thomas.
For.
Mayor Johnson is for. Alderman Fraser.
For.
Alderman Carlton.
For.
Alderman Sims.
For.
Carried unanimously. So that will end the public session of our council meeting. Thank you very much, members of the public, for joining us online tonight via Facebook. Our next council meeting will be at the end of November. It's hard to believe that we're almost to Christmas now. It's 60 days or 60 sleeps to Christmas, my daughter tells me this morning. Again, thank you very much for joining us on Facebook, and please follow our Facebook page and our council website for more updates about what's happening at council. So thank you very much.